you ever felt like something was watching you in the dark, even when you were completely alone? What if I told you sometimes those shadows aren't just in your imagination? Tonight, you'll hear 3 horrifying stories so disturbing, so violent, that you may never sleep peacefully again. In 1992, a family of 4 in Massachusetts began hearing strange inside their walls. At first, they thought it was rats, but soon things turned darker. Food from the fridge began disappearing. Every night, the mother noticed furniture slightly moved when she woke up. The daughter, only 10 years old, complained that sometimes she woke up and felt breathing near her bed. One night, the father set up a camcorder in the kitchen to catch the thief. What the camera revealed was horrifying. Around 3 a.m., a gaunt, pale man crawled silently out of a narrow gap in the wall. He moved slowly, on all 4s, like an animal. He opened the fridge, ate raw chicken with his bare hands, then walked into the daughter's bedroom. The family called the police immediately, but when officers searched, they found no one. Instead, they discovered a hidden crawl space that ran throughout the entire house. Inside were filthy blankets, jars filled with rotten food, children's toys, and photographs of the daughter sleeping. It turned out the man had been living in the walls for months, watching the family, waiting for the perfect moment. When police finally dragged him out of the crawl space, he fought like an animal, biting and clawing. His fingernails were sharpened to points, and his teeth were rotting black. The worst part, when questioned, he whispered, "I wasn't living there. I was waiting." In a remote Pakistani village, there's an old legend, the spirit of a bride murdered on her wedding night. They call her the bride who never left. One stormy night, a motorcyclist saw her, standing by the roadside in a drenched wedding dress, face hidden by a black veil. Out of pity, he let her ride with him. She was silent, only pointing toward the dark forest road. As they rode, he noticed her feet dangling oddly, till he realized they were twisted backwards. A rancid stench of rot filled the air. He turned, and the veil was gone. Her face was a hollow void, crawling with worms. Her jaw unhinged unnaturally wide, releasing a low growl. He screamed, lost control of the bike, and crashed. At dawn, villagers found him hanging from a tree with his own belt. His mouth was packed with dirt, his eyes wide in terror. In the mud beneath, scratched with fingernails, were the words, "She rides with me, even today." Locals say if you ride that road during a storm, you may feel a weight behind you and hear a woman's whisper asking for a ride. In a decaying European asylum, nurses feared room 6. They said anyone who entered, stayed too long, would go mad. In 1967, a new nurse was forced to check on a violent patient locked inside. The room was ice cold, the air thick with the smell of rot. The patient sat in the corner, whispering guttural chants in a language she didn't understand. Then he stopped. Slowly, he looked up and began tearing his nails off, one by one, drawing bloody circles on the floor. The nurse panicked, calling for help. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out. When doctors rushed in minutes later, the patient was gone. The walls were smeared with symbols in blood. The nurse's body was found suspended from the ceiling by leather restraints that hadn't been in the room before. Her bones were twisted backward. Her eyes had been gouged out, and carved into her stomach were the words, "He is coming." Room 6 was sealed forever. But staff who work in the building today swear they still hear chanting from behind the door. And as if something is still inside, waiting.
These aren't just ghost stories. Evil doesn't always knock at your door. Sometimes it hides in your walls, rides with you in the dark, or waits in a room you should never open. So tell me, which story disturbed you the most? And tonight, if you hear footsteps in your walls or a whisper behind you when you're alone, remember, maybe it's already inside.